The first man kicked open the door, and both disappeared from Smith's sight as they plunged through the shattered entrance. Smith's mind raced while he tried to understand just what was happening. The shooter in his room obviously valued silence, with his dampened weapon and what must have been a careful entrance into Smith's chamber, but the two in the hall kicked in doors and seemed unconcerned about revealing their positions. Smith spun left, but stopped when he saw the emergency exit door at the far end begin to open. It swung outward, and Smith found himself staring into the eye holes of yet another masked attacker. His own bedroom door remained ajar, and he slammed back through it, dropping at once into a crouch. He crabbed to the left, hitting his temple on the corner of the desk and stepping on some broken glass from the fallen lamp. He clenched his teeth as he felt the shard bite deep, followed by a flow of warm blood. No sound came from the shooter in the room. The hallway erupted once again in gunfire, punctuated by the screams of the other hotel guests. Smith heard an explosion, and the floor shook. When the noise died down, he strained to focus his senses in the shooter's direction. No sound. He hovered in the darkness and did his best to slow his breathing, a difficult task because he was panting with a mixture of adrenaline and stress. His cell phone lit up and began to ring. Smith froze. The phone sat on the nightstand, and its display illuminated the area with a yellow color. In the weak glow, he saw the shooter slumped at the foot of the bed. The phone's ring increased, getting louder each time. Smith made his way around the desk, past the motionless person and over to the nightstand. He grabbed his gun, pointed it in the direction of the bed, and flicked on the bedside lamp. The killer remained still. Smith glanced at the phone's screen. The display read Anacostia Yacht Club, followed by a number that Smith knew was a decoy. His other employer, Fred Klein, head of Covert-One, an organization of clandestine experts in various fields dedicated to fighting terrorism, was calling. Klein didn't call often, and never without a grave reason. Another explosion rocked the hotel, punctuated with screams and the sound of sirens from emergency vehicles, still in the distance, but getting louder. Smith picked up the phone and hit the answer key, keeping his weapon pointed at the motionless shooter. "It's Smith. What's happening?" "Get out of the hotel. The CIA just reported that it's targeted for an attack," Klein said. More automatic fire came from the hallway, the noise louder and closer than before, and coming from both sides. The attackers were systematically entering each room. "Is that gunfire I hear?" Smith edged around the bed, past the fallen man, and moved to the door. He threw the deadbolt and turned the locking bar inward before returning to the body. This attacker wore no mask, and Smith stared into the face of a man perhaps 25 years old, with dark hair and the broad, flat, slightly Asian features of someone of Mongolian descent. Smith crouched down and pressed his fingers on the carotid artery, checking for a pulse. There was none. He put pressure on either side of the man's jaw, forcing it open, checking for cyanide suicide pills. Nothing. Smith could discern no reason why the man was dead. "The CIA is a little late. They're already here. Why are they after me?" Smith transferred his phone to his left hand while he started to search the body. "They're not after you personally. They're after American and diplomatic targets. This one is just bad luck. Coincidence. The CIA's been warning of an attack in Europe for months, but I just got the report that pinpointed the WHO conference, and I knew you were there. Get the hell out of the hotel. Now." Klein was right. The media had been reporting that certain fringe groups were planning an attack, but Smith hadn't thought much about it. He knew that U.S. intelligence sources received hundreds of bits of information each day, and that many led to nothing. Such reports were usually so vague as to be useless, and his business required that he travel to Europe. "Tell me how many," Smith said. "They think at least 30, 2 to 4 on each floor." Smith heard more screams from the hall. A woman started wailing, the noise cut short by the report of a gun. "They taking hostages?"